All right, good morning, everyone, and welcome to NeuroDataReHack 2026. I am Ben Dichter, I'm the founder of CatalystNeuro, and I'm really excited to welcome you all here. Some of you traveled from quite far to be here, so and all of you have this a passion for open science that was apparent in your applications. So really excited to teach you about how to access open data and have you work with each other and learn from each other. So the first things first, I want to thank Janelia for hosting us, especially Janine and Alethea, who help organizing all of the logistics for and organizing all of the rooms and the space here, and the AV team, which has always been amazing. These lectures will be recorded so that anyone in the world will be able to benefit from them. And they help with getting people to give remote talks from various places so we can really bring you the experts in the various fields. And the catering team, as you've already seen, the food here is fantastic and it's really great. They do a good job of accommodating any dietary restrictions and just in general really set the tone for the meeting. So we feel incredibly lucky to be here at Janelia, and I wanted to quickly first give them our appreciation. Okay, so the motivation for NeuroDataReHack. So the Brain Initiative has supported software for sharing neurophysiology data in a way that promotes reanalysis. So this includes standards like NeuroData Without Borders, which allows you to package data with all the metadata necessary for reanalysis. But of course, that's not very useful unless you have a way to actually share that data. So then we have DANDI, which is the recommended archive for sharing NWB files. You can also share NWB in other places, but I like to think of DANDI as kind of like a YouTube for neuroscience. That's what I tell like non-neuroscientists when they ask me. It's like you can upload, download for free, you can search for free, and it's all about just sharing data across the community. And the Brain Initiative also funded a lot of analysis and visualization tools. So this was really a shift in the way that the US government was thinking about neuroscience research, where we really started to think, how can we invest in neuroinformatics, and how can we invest in the experiments that we're running so that we can get the most out of them? So now we have a whole system of tools. We have all of this data in standards that make them interoperable. We have archives so you can access hundreds of different data sets from labs all across the world. And we have analysis and visualization tools. But there's one missing piece, which is that it's actually all useless if people don't know how to actually use these tools and make sure they all work together. Because there's now over 550 NWB, quote, DANDI sets on DANDI. And we have now a large and growing ecosystem of software to read, visualize, and analyze NWB data. On top of that, DANDI provides computational resources in an environment to conveniently access your data. And so now we can shift our focus. I mean, we're still focusing on getting data up into the archive, but now we can think, how can we get the most of the data that's already up there? How can we train people? And that was really the idea that started NeuroDataReHack. And the ultimate vision here is what new experiments, instead of thinking what new experiments can I design, if you have a scientific question, you can think what query can I run on open data, right? And it's not either or, right? You can collect your own data and have use open data as well, but it really allows you to accelerate your science in a way that wasn't possible before. So the objectives here, the tagline is generating new insights from existing neurophysiology data through secondary analysis, but we have some sub-aims here. First and foremost is to teach you how to search, read, explore, and analyze open neurophysiology data, and to share your analyses with others. Now, we're going to cover most of that in the first 2 days. After today and tomorrow, you'll have a really good idea of how to search the archive, how to read the data, and a few analysis tools. And then through the rest of the time, we'll have invited talks to demonstrate how people analyze the data, different tools that are available to you for free, and there's a whole ecosystem. So we have selected talks from this ecosystem throughout the workshop. And we want you to kickstart projects that reuse existing neurophysiology data. Now, some of these projects will become major research projects. We have in the past had people who started projects here, and then you see them giving poster presentations at major conferences and publishing papers on this. And some of them are just going to be educational tools, and that's fine too. Because a major goal of this is actually for you to help us improve the software stack, right? So we know that not everything is going to work perfectly, right? Every year it's getting better. And I think this year you'll be able to get pretty far. We've ironed out a lot of the issues, but every year, as the capabilities improve, also the aspirations, right, of the plans improve, and so you'll reveal new things that are areas for improvement. So actually, this is one of the primary venues where we gather the needs for the next year. We really think through what was working, what wasn't working, and how can we address those needs. So one way for you to give back to NeuroDataReHack is to really help us in that way. Like, that's the primary way that we want you to give back, is to help us understand how to make this better for the next year. So towards that end, I mentioned this already in the pre-talk, but I know not everyone was there. So when you applied for this, you proposed a project. And the point of that was to really make sure that you kind of understood the point of NeuroDataReHack and that you were prepared to do a project in data reuse. But you are not held to that project. You're not expected necessarily to do that project. You're welcome to continue on with that project. I know a lot of you propose projects that are closely related to the work you're doing already in lab, and that's totally fine if you just want to work on that. Or if you're inspired, because a lot of the tools that you're going to be learning today are going to be about how to search the archive and understand what's in there. And maybe you'll find an even more exciting data set and change your direction of research, and that's totally normal as well. You are allowed to work solo or as a team or something in between. We've found that there have been great projects working in any one of these modes. So some of you just have your project and you want to do it, that's fine. Teams have been really great because it allows people to learn from each other. And sometimes people will work individually on projects, but they'll be working with the same tool or they'll be working with the same data set. And so they'll kind of collaborate on understanding that data set, but with their own independent research questions. So feel free to kind of mix and match these the best way that suits you. A little history of NeuroDataReHack. So this is year 5. So our first year in 2022 was at the Allen Institute in Seattle. So that was a really great match because the Allen Institute is a big proponent of open data, and we were able to collaborate with them on this. We're still major collaborators with them, and so that really kicked this off. It was a smaller event, but it was really kind of a proof of concept. Like, we had never really done something like this before. That we had at the time like 70 data sets or something, maybe even less on DANDI. So it was a very different type of ecosystem back then. But we were so impressed with the progress that people were able to make in just a few days that this really became a yearly thing. We were like, we got to keep doing this. We have to keep on bringing people into this community. And so that inspired year 2, which was actually in Granada, Spain. It was a satellite of the EBRO conference, which allowed us to access a much more global audience. And then in 2024, we shifted to Janelia, and they've just been such amazing hosts that it's the next 2 years, including this year, we decided to continue here. As I'm sure you all have already seen, the housing on site, the food, this venue, the recordings, just the atmosphere here of everyone being so welcoming of open science and of us has been so fantastic that we're probably going to continue here for the foreseeable future. So, and they've been really excited about having us, we just feel really fortunate to have this partnership with them. We always try to learn from previous years and improve things. So the major difference this year from last year is that based on feedback, we added an extra day for more lectures and more hacking time. And in particular, more hacking time, because that's always something that people say they want more. They want more time working on their projects. I have a theory that no matter how much time you give scientists, they will always ask for more time. But we're giving an extra day, and I think that will be great. And so that has allowed us to expand to new lecture topics. So now we are incorporating neural foundation models into the curriculum, which we haven't had before. And so we're really excited to see in the feedback at the end, like how you feel about this change. We think it's probably an improvement. And so, yeah. Okay, so that brings us to our instructors. So I'll just introduce myself and then pass it around to the other instructors that are here. So I'm Ben Dichter. I'm the founder of CatalystNeuro, which is a research software engineering company that focuses on open science and neurophysiology. We work on NWB, DANDI, and we work with labs to help them get their data published and also work with tools to integrate them into the open science ecosystem. And I organize NeuroDataReHack, which is something that I'm really proud of and really proud to share with all of you. Oliver, I'll pass it to you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Oliver Riebel. I'm staff scientist at Lawrence Berkeley National Lab. I've been working with Ben for close to 10 years now on NWB. So we have written several grants around NWB, and my role nowadays is mostly be the PI and help move the project forward.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ryan Lee. I'm a research software engineer at Lawrence Berkeley National Lab, and I serve as the technical lead for the NeuroData Without Borders, NWB project. I've been doing this for about 7 years after my PhD in neuroscience, and I've been really enjoying it and looking forward to talking with all of you and teaching you about all about NWB and DANDI and open data.
Get the long pass.
Yeah.
Carter, where are you? All right.
We have one here.
Nice, Toronto.
Ryan just wanted to flex on you. Okay, everybody. I'm Carter. I am a data analyst at the Allen Institute. I work on the OpenScope project, which basically we were an early uptaker of DANDI and NWB. So I was one of the first people who had to originally struggle through using it, so that now you guys don't have to. And so I'm going to be talking about how to use our data sets on DANDI, how to use NWB, and I'm going to share some tools with you guys to do that.
Hi everyone, I'm Pranav. I'm a research software engineer at International Brain Lab, which I joined last year. And I'll be talking about one of our data sets, which is brain-wide map data set, which is like a mouse data set where we record from all over the brain during a visual discrimination task. Mostly I work on neuropixels recording and tool development around it. Looking forward to working with you all.
Guillaume is not here yet. He will be talking, he works at Flatiron Institute, and he'll be talking about Pineapple. He's arriving tomorrow, and he'll be giving this lecture tomorrow. So let's skip him for now and go to Alexander.
Thanks. My name is Alex. I'm a PhD student at Penn and working with Eva Dyer, and we're mainly working on neural foundation models. So I will try to explain to you what I think is neural foundation models and how to use TorchBrain, which is an ecosystem we have built to create actually neural foundation models. We'll have a bit of hands-on and practice how to use them with the actually IBL datasets. So a bit of connection.
And Jake behind you.
Sorry.
Hi, I'm Jake. I work as a software engineer here at Janelia in Marius Pachitari's lab, working on CatalystNeuro for spike sorting electrophysiology data. And I don't recall what else
That sounds good.
been saying.
Yeah,
but
that's good.
anyway.
Uh-oh. Okay. About the venue. So we already had, again, thanks to Janelia, they've been supporting NWB for many years. This is actually their 11th time doing some sort of event for NWB that I'm aware of. So they've been huge supporters. It's a non-trivial amount of support that they've given NWB over the years, and so it's just really great. So we have this room, and there's which is called Synapse, and there's another room called Spectrum, which is over to the right, down this hallway, past Bob's, and to the right, and that's set up for hacking, and it has, I'm told, 4 external monitors there that you can use. So I guess it's kind of first come, first serve there on the monitors. And you'll see in the schedule, we have a lot of hacking time, and then also during lectures, it's possible to go, if the lecture's not relevant to you, you can just go to the other room and continue hacking. And, or you can hack here, but if you have a group and you want to talk, you can go to the other room. In the past, the groups have taken over that space because they'll use the whiteboard and they'll kind of do the whole collaborative thing over there. So that works really well. Meals will be in the dining hall. So breakfast, lunch, and dinner where you've already had it. The lunch will be with Janelians, I guess only during the week. This lunch won't be with Janelians, but the rest of them you'll see, will be part of the whole cafeteria thing. But you just show them your badge, and the food will be free for you. There's also food at Bob's, and you can. They have really nice coffees and cocktails and mocktails. So there's something for everyone over at Bob's, and those are also covered by the conference if you just show your badge. There are snacks there, but don't get your full meal there because we're doing the meals at the cafeteria. There's a lot of stuff that you can do in the evenings here. Table tennis and billiards at Bob's. Walking around the pond is really nice just out there. The gymnasium we showed those of you who went on the tour yesterday. The carriage house, which has a second bar. You can just explore the grounds. There's also a small island that we have access to. It's in that general direction. It's an island on the river. It's a nice hike. So if any one of you want to do a bit outdoorsy stuff, it's kind of fun to go out there.
I was thinking tomorrow, I think the chance of rain is lower than today, so I'll take whoever wants to go out there and just walk around and explore.
Great. Okay.
Carter also mentioned that we could have a jam session.
Oh yeah, the music room. Yeah. Okay, going over the schedule. So we are doing the intro right now. We are probably running late. Yeah, a little bit. And then we have an intro to NWB and DANDI from Ryan. Then Oliver will kick us off with the interactive tutorials with how to read NWB files. I will then do a session on how to explore DANDI, how to search it, what data sets are on there, and how to access the data and just start working with it. Then we will have lunch. Then Pranav will give an overview of data from the IBL. We have instructors who specialize in certain data sets. We encourage you to consider using those data sets. Though you're allowed to work with any data on the archive, we have support specifically for the IBL and the OpenScope data. And they're really high quality data sets. So those are ones that we recommend. Then Jerome Lecoq will give a virtual talk on the OpenScope program, followed by Carter, who's on Jerome's team, will give an introduction to the OpenScope data and the data book that he has created, which is an executable textbook that teaches you how to interact with the OpenScope data and walks you through common analyses and more advanced analyses of neurophysiology data. Then Ryan will lead a project roundtable where we really discuss what our interests are and see if we can find collaborations. This is kind of a continuation, I would say, of the pre-meeting that we had last week. So now that you've had some time to kind of simmer on those ideas, and we can do basically another round of that to see what partnerships we can form. We'll have a little bit of time for hacking, depending on how everything goes. And then we're going to do a speed networking thing. So this is kind of a special thing that Janelia does that they talked us into the first time, and it went so well that we needed no more convincing after that. So basically, it's kind of like speed dating. We don't want to call it speed dating, but it's 5 minutes with each pair, and we'll give you a discussion prompt, and we'll get you all to meet each other and learn about each other's interests. Yeah, so I'm excited for that. That's always really fun. And then after that, dinner. Okay, day 2. This is going to focus more on analyzing the data because you'll already know how to search and access the data. So we'll start with Carter walking through the notebook for OpenScope for electrophysiology. Then I will give a short talk on how to write good issues. So this is one of the ways that you can provide us feedback about what's working and what's not working. We have a remote talk from one of the authors of a paper that recently was published and used open data. So this is an example of data reuse. Then we have Carter walking through the other side of the OpenScope data book on the calcium imaging side. Then Guillaume, who's going to arrive tomorrow, will lead a lecture and interactive session on neural data analysis in Pineapple. And we will then have some hacking time followed by a talk from Misha Ahrens. Actually, I think that talk has been delayed, but whatever. It's in that afternoon section on data that his lab has contributed and he's here at Janelia. Hacking and dinner. On day 3, we will we'll do some project check-ins, and then I will talk about developing with large language models. I imagine some of you are absolute pros at this, and some of you have only dipped your toes in. So I will kind of try to bring you up to speed on the latest tools and what I would recommend. This is something that I've tried to stay on top of, and I think we have really exciting tools that I at least want you all to be aware of. Then Alex will give a lecture on neural foundation models with TorchBrain, followed by a remote talk from Robin Dard on software he's created called Cicada, which helps people build NWB analysis pipelines. Our afternoon will mostly be hacking with a talk from Ryan on virtual data sets and Lindy. So these are kind of new types of structures for data standardization. Day 4, we will have a talk at 9:30 on converting data to NWB. Now this whole NeuroDataReHack, it's really specifically designed around teaching people how to reuse data, not convert data. But every year, people are interested in this, and we've actually made it easier and easier to the point where we can really give you what you need to know in 45 minutes, and then you can use that knowledge to package your own data or bring it back to your universities and teach your colleagues how to package data. Then we will have a virtual talk about NeuroSift and using AI for analysis from Jeremy Magland. Jeremy built a lot of the tools that we will be using here. He is the lead architect of NeuroSift and of the semantic search for DANDI and of Lindy. So he's contributed a lot, and he wasn't able to be here in person, but he'll be able to walk through some of those tools in this lecture and how he built them. Then we'll be doing a lab tour. Jacob Voigt is a group leader here at Janelia. His lab is really fascinating. They do like complex 3D arena recording. And so it's really exciting lab to tour because they've got all these like fancy recording setups. And he's just a really good tour guide. So I would encourage you guys to check that out. We usually do like 2 batches of tours because it's a little small space, but it's always a hit. Day 5, Carson Stringer and Atika Saida, they're both here at Janelia. They will be talking about tools that they're building for large-scale neural and behavioral data analysis. So this is the lab behind Sweet2P and face map and raster map and probably others as well. And then Jake, who is here, will be giving a talk on spike sorting with CatalystSort, followed by Alessio Bacino giving a virtual talk on spike interface, which is also a tool for spike sorting and kind of building pipelines around spike sorting pipelines. Hacking, lunch, group photo, lots more hacking. And then on day 6, we will have some hacking time in the beginning of the day, and then we'll have 3.5 hours of project presentations followed by discussion and feedback session. Okay, so one resource that I want to make sure you guys all have, I saw a lot of people signing up for Slack already, so I guess most of you are already there, but we will be sharing the materials there. We will have slides for the lectures, online resources, documentation, everything on there on Slack, and you can use it to hear real-time announcements about any schedule changes, chat with others about projects, plan social outings in the evening. For instance, to Selden Island, we'll be using the Slack to announce things. And here's the QR code if anyone's not on there yet. Okay, I guess you're all there. Perfect. Okay, talking about projects. So we have a Google Doc that we ask you to use to report your progress. This Google Doc will be used to create a report of the event at the end, which will be released publicly. So anything that you don't want released publicly, we ask you just put in red text, and then we'll just omit that from the report. Again, feel free to use the Slack channel to form teams, post questions, make announcements, etc. We have access to the separate room. We now have over 24 hours, just over 24 hours, it turns out, of hacking time in the schedule. So that's for you to work on these projects. And then finally, we have these presentations, 3.5 hours. It can be group or solo. If you're solo, it's a time limit of 5 minutes. If you're group, it's a time limit of 10 minutes. You're encouraged to use slides, and you're encouraged to present. Even if you did not get that far in your project, you can present what you learned. So we are really impressed by some of the projects that get really far, but we're equally impressed when people learn a lot. And that is a perfectly valid topic for a presentation, is what you learned. So we really like those types of presentations just as much. So don't be intimidated by the person who's been working on their PhD project for 4.5 years and just plugged some new data into it and now has 10 publication quality figures. There may be 1 or 2 of those, but we're also interested in people who really are just getting their feet wet and understanding these tools. And then also, once you finish, please update the Google Docs so we have records of all of these projects, including links to the slides if you're willing to share those. I'm going to go quickly through this because, Ryan, I imagine you also have slides like this on yours. Okay, then I will go through it. So there are lots of ways to reuse data. I think it's really interesting to think through and to see examples of all these different ways because they're really quite diverse. So this is not an exhaustive list, but some things that we've seen. One way is a showcase. So if you have something like a spike sorting algorithm and you want to show how well it works on different data sets, you can access open data and you can show it across different species, for instance. You can run a pilot. So you can have a scientific question, and before collecting your own data, you can try to find a close match of the kind of data you would collect that's open and try to run your analysis on that, maybe get to the next step without ever having to collect your own data. You can do a follow-up analysis, so explore questions that were left unanswered by the initial study. You can do a confirmative analysis, so you can do your own project, collect your own data, and get a result, and then just see if you can replicate that result in open data. This is a type I see a lot, and actually it's a really great way to use open data because it really doesn't disrupt the existing workflow of how most scientists work, but it just enhances existing projects. You could do a contrastive analysis where you say, well, this works in mice, but it doesn't work in monkeys, for instance, right? And it's hard for a single lab to collect data from multiple species, but it's quite easy to aggregate data from multiple labs. You can do an aggregative analysis where you combine data across labs, either to gain statistical power or to train a machine learning model. And you can use it as an educational resource. You can use this to train and inspire the next generation of neuroscientists with real data. So just to show you some examples of each one of these, Showcase, there are lots of examples of Showcase. The Zebra paper out of Mackenzie Mathis's lab, this figure from the paper used an NWB dataset on DANDI. Raster map, which came from the Stringer lab, which is here at Janelia, they also used data on DANDI to demonstrate. Kilosort out of Janelia, and also we'll have a talk from Jake about, used 3 different datasets on DANDI to demonstrate the results. Dredge, which is a paper on motion correction for spike sorting, this is really cool. They used 3 different DANDI sets and 3 different species to demonstrate that this works across species. And a paper, a tool called ElecFlex is for single cell, like patch clamp style electrophysiology recordings. They also demonstrated it on a data set on DANDI. So this is really great. If you have a tool and you want to demonstrate that tool, it's really a good idea to check out the data sets on DANDI and see if you can just apply it there. It also can be used in training models. So this is not an exhaustive list. I mean, we'd be here all day if I was talking about every paper, but some highlights. So there's this paper out of Mark Churchland's lab on an algorithm called MINT that used 7 different data sets, demonstrating on 7 different data sets. Also, of course, there is Poyo and the larger torch brain ecosystem, which we'll learn about from Alex, which is using data from DANDI to train neural foundation models. In terms of educational resources, the biggest one that comes to mind is NWB for EDU, which is an electronic notebook that teaches neurophysiology analysis and open science principles through NWB. And that's really targeted for like undergrads. So that's, it's exciting to kind of extend it in that direction. They used a bunch of different data sets on DANDI as well as data from the Allen Institute. And there are lots of papers that explore new scientific questions. This paper, we're actually going to have a short talk by Will Slatton, a virtual talk, I think on Wednesday, and they used a data set on DANDI to generate new scientific insights about the geometry of neuropopulation activity. And this is just a small subset of a large and growing list of dozens of projects that use data on DANDI that you hopefully will join. Including NeuroDataReHack alumni. So these are, I saw Jixia both at NeurIPS and at Cosine presenting on a project that was started here at NeuroDataReHack in just last year. So that project has really taken off. And I imagine they have a manuscript under review now. Noga Mudrik was a member of the first NeuroDataReHack and recently presented her project and also has an archive paper on this project as well. So we're starting to see, though it takes time, right, for papers to go from beginning here at NeuroDataReHack to actually become published works. We're starting to see major outputs from this hackathon. And that's, again, really a small subset of the activity that's going on in DANDI. So if we really think about, like, if we want a non-delayed view, the problem with publications is it's like, well, 5 years out. But if we want to think about, well, who's accessing the data today, we've started monitoring download activity from across the world. And we're seeing downloads from just all over the place. I mean, really, it's really amazing to me. I mean, I expected the US and Canada, and it's great to see Mexico so represented here. But I really was excited to see so much activity in Latin America and across Russia and India and some pockets of Africa and, places like New Zealand. And there's one spot in Madagascar where someone's accessing the data. I don't know who this person is, but I'm really excited to know what they were doing in Madagascar with data on DANDI. So we're really seeing activity all over the world, and yeah, we're just excited to have this project where we can show you how to join this community. Okay, so that's everything for the intro. Again, thank you all for being here. Thank you for Janelia for hosting us, and I'll open it for any questions. Yes, Kathleen.
What are the morning project check-ins like?
Oh yeah, good question. Morning project check-ins. It's just a quick, I would say, 3-sentence update on kind of where you are in your project. It's an opportunity to solicit the group for help if you have certain problems, or if you're interested in bringing on members, or if you want to highlight certain issues you faced for us to help you with. It's just kind of a platform where we can make sure that we're like keeping tabs on the project and no one's kind of spinning their wheels. Yeah. Good question. Yeah. Dish.
I was wondering about the DANDI computation.
Oh yeah, the DANDI hub. Yeah, so the DANDI hub is a Jupyter hub that is free to DANDI account holders, though they are sunsetting that on August 1st. So you can use it for this hackathon if you need it. Okay, yeah. I mean, though I would say if you need computational resources like that, Google Colab is another good option. It's similar to DANDI Hub. It is run in Google Cloud, so it's not as fast streaming access of the data, but other than that, it's pretty similar.
Yeah, and I'll go into a little more detail on that, and Oliver will feel comfortable.
Yeah. Anyone else? All right. Thanks, everyone.